So, hello, welcome to our session about managing cloud infrastructure with SUSE Manager. Let me introduce myself. My name is Martin Zikund. I'm the pre-sales manager in the DACH region, which is Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And together with me today is Gabriel Stein, pre-sales engineer in my team. So, hi, Gabriel.
Hi, Martin. I'm glad to be here. So, I'm Gabriel Stein. I'm pre-sales engineer working in Germany and supporting also a lot of customers in the DACH region and working together with Martin.
Thank you, Gabriel. So let's deep dive into our topic. But before we get there, we prepared a short agenda. Basically, consists only of two parts. So the first one is a short introduction into the SUSE Manager. For those of you who are not so familiar with the tool, I'll introduce it in a few slides. But majority of our session will be the practical demonstration of SUSE Manager and how you can manage with SUSE Manager different Linux distributions. And we divided this part into three sections. So the first section will be about how to manage different Linux distributions. So basically how you can add Rocky Linux, Red Hat, and so on for the management. Then in the second part, we'll be talking about how you can actually manage some different servers with different Linux operating system. And the last part is about security, because as we all know, security is a key topic. So we will show you how SUSE Manager can help you keep your environment secure. So without further ado, let's jump into the topic and let's discuss why SUSE Manager, why you might need SUSE Manager, or how can it help you. We all know that infrastructure is complex nowadays. It might be in your on-premise infrastructure, but regarding the study, a lot of customers are choosing also public clouds and not even one, but maybe two. So from the perspective, you need one central tool which help you to manage all your infrastructure. Make sure that all your systems are patched, that are up to date. There's no security leakage, that your configuration is also correctly done. So there's no open ports and anything like this, which can cause you some either downtime or maybe data leakage. And all of those things can be quite expensive. So from that point of view, we would like to introduce a SUSE Manager as a tool which helps you to manage your infrastructure centrally. And I really like this diagram, this circle, which actually talks about what SUSE Manager does for you. So it's mainly the three areas around compliance, security, and health/monitoring. So SUSE Manager helps you across the whole lifecycle of your servers. So it starts with the infrastructure. So it helps you to create your infrastructure, install your servers. Once the servers are installed, obviously you need to make sure that your applications are installed. So it's about package management, installing the right packages and applications. Obviously, the next steps will be the patch all those applications and the server. So the patch management is really a crucial part. And before we'll get to the security topic, there's one more important part, which is the configuration management. Because obviously you would like to have configure all your systems in the same fashion, in the same manner. You would like to maybe apply some firewall rules. You might want to apply some configuration for your network cards and so on. So configuration management is key. And then in the last step, it's all about security and compliance. So basically, SUSE Manager will help you to scan your infrastructure and tell you where you might have some security potential problem, where your configuration is maybe not according to some of the compliance audits or compliance strategies. So that's all the things which SUSE Manager can help you with. And as you can see here, we can do it for few systems like 10, or we can scale to up to 1 million clients. So we will have different customers. Some of them are using SUSE Manager in the small deployments, maybe for SAP systems where they have just few but mission critical servers. Or we have the opposite side, which is maybe the retailers, which are having thousands of stores across different geolocations with many different thousands and 10,000s of the clients running. So for those environments, SUSE Manager can help with as well. And it actually brings us to one of the new features in SUSE Manager, which is this multi-server architecture or hub architecture, where you can see that you can have multiple SUSE Manager servers, which are managing some of the clients, either via proxy or without a proxy. But you can have multiple of those servers, and then on top of it, you can have one central instance, which is storing all your content or your distributions, as well as some configuration management. So in the end, you can have one single console, which can help you to control everything. So this is one of the new features which will help us, especially in the edge environments where we are going to almost millions of deployments. And when we talk about the different deployments and locations, SUSE Manager really can run and work with different clients, either on-premise, and doesn't matter in which architecture, if it's Intel x86 or if it's ARM, if it's IBM Power, we can manage all. The same is for the public cloud. So we can connect to all different public cloud instances like AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, and we can help you to manage all of those. So that's really key from my perspective for you as a customer to have one single console which helps you to manage all different environments and all different clients. So let's get to the practical part. As I mentioned, it's really the key. So we divided it into those three sections. So the first one will be talking about the Linux distribution management. And here we will show you how you can add new distribution and you can sync repositories. Obviously, the next steps, once you have all your different distributions ready and uploaded to your SUSE Manager, then you would like to add your clients. So we will be talking about how you can add your clients, either manually or automatically, and also we will be talking about the patching. The last part is about security, because security is really key. So we would like to tell you how you can run some scans, the CV scanning, but moreover, the majority of the part will be focused on OpenSCAP as a standard, which can help you to scan and let's say compare your servers against some profiles, security profiles. So let's start with the first part. Gabriel, can you show us how we can add new distribution and sync the repositories?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Martin, for the introduction. So now let's start to see how we can add the distribution to our uh, Linux, the management with SUSE Manager. So I have here my hosts, which already exist on SUSE Manager, and now I will show how to add the distribution from the beginning. So first we need to go to the admin part here, and then we have like the products. So I will show now going here for the products, and then you have like the Linux distributions which we support. I'm searching here for Rocky Linux as an example. I already had synchronized some repositories, but I tested also with other architectures. We can manage multiple architectures from Linux distributions with SUSE Manager. I just click here and then I will add the product here, and then we start synchronizing this product. We start synchronizing this distribution into my SUSE Manager, so it will be possible to start bootstrapping or adding hosts to the SUSE Manager. So, and now I need to also, after do to this synchronization from the repositories, I need to add activation key, and the activation key which I need to add is also to have a way to split my host. What kind of management I will do if I have a limitation from the number of the distros which I will install from this Linux distribution, and also what repositories we will use, and also in the final I can also check or change the kind of host which I will add with this activation key. On this case, as I synchronize the repositories from Rocky 8, Rocky Linux 8, I'm adding activation key for this kind of Linux distribution. I would need to also to add a limit if I would like to add, or on the base channel here, I'm selecting the Rocky Linux channel, which is the base channel which this Linux distribution we will use. And then I have here, for example, the types of repositories from Rocky Linux 8, and then I also can select the types of the hosts which I would like to add. In this case, I will leave it empty, and I prefer to add it manually every time which I add a new host to SUSE Manager. So now I have my Rocky Linux key here added. So, and I can start doing the bootstrapping or adding new hosts to SUSE Manager. Now it's with you, Martin. What is the next topic which you will show to the audience?
Thank you, Gabriel, for a nice and short demonstration of how we can manage distributions and add new products. As you can see, it's quite easy. Via the products, you can just simply select which distribution you would like to have. But now let's move to the next step, which is the management of different clients. So uh, just to summarize, in terms of like managing the distribution, here you can see what are all the options which you can manage with SUSE Manager. So it's obviously our SUSE Linux Enterprise Server 12 or 15, also our SLE Micro, which is the micro distribution which we have from the SUSE. And then obviously we are capable to manage also some other competitive Linux distributions like RHEL or Oracle Linux or CentOS, or also Ubuntu, Debian, and many others. And we are also supporting some of the clones from CentOS like Alma Linux and Rocky Linux. And also on top of all of those, we have some of the Linux distribution like Alibaba or Astra Linux, which are community supported, meaning is that there's no enterprise support. Nevertheless, our community, open source community, is adding the support for SUSE Manager to be able to manage those distributions. That was a short summary of the Linux distribution management, but now let's move on to the management of different clients. And first, I would like to talk about adding new clients. So we support primarily two ways how you can add the clients. The first one is manual, where you install your client, and then once it's installed, you just bootstrap it, meaning register to the SUSE Manager, which then SUSE Manager then runs some scripts and install the profile, salt minion, and so on, and basically connect it to for the management. Or SUSE Manager can also help you automate the whole process. So first of all, SUSE Manager does have the Pixie boot, so it's capable to do a Pixie booting. You can also upload your ISO images of the different Linux distributions. So those ISO images are stored at SUMA, and SUSE Manager then provide the ISO to the client and install the client. In terms of how you install the OS, we have two ways how we can automate it, which is integration with the Kickstart for Red Hat and some other distributions, or you can use AutoYAS profiles for SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. And in those templates, you basically define how your system should look like, what should be the domain name, what should be like the password maybe for the administrator or for the root user, and what you would like to install, maybe some additional applications and so on. So everything can be described in this YAML file. And SUSE Manager then can help you to automate all those installation steps so you don't have to do anything. And before we will show this one, there's one more thing which I would like to talk to you about, which is the patching. So to help you with different, let's say, life cycle of the patches for your development environment, for your testing environment, and for the production environment, we have this feature called Content Lifecycle Management, which is basically capability to filter which patches and packages should be available in different stages of your systems. And with this one, we add new thing in SUSE Manager 4.2.1, where we have those life cycle live patching templates, meaning that if you would like to use live patching, which is the kernel patching without a reboot, now you can use those templates, which will filter down all those kernel patches which would cause you a reboot. Instead of those, it will automatically propose a live patch without a reboot. So with this template, you can be sure that if you update your system, only the patches which doesn't require a reboot will be installed. So, Gabriel, stage is yours. Can you show us the client onboarding and live patching?
Yes, of course. So it will be a pleasure. So now I have here my screen and I can show you how to add the host. The first part which I will show you will be just doing a normal bootstrap from this host. I can do it clicking add systems here up in this menu here, or on the left side on clicking on bootstrapping. So now let's see how we can do that. So mainly I have these two options here. I'm going for the first, which I doing a bootstrapping from the host from the beginning. This host is already running on my infrastructure. I need to have an SSH server running there. I can connect to this host. I also need to have a key added to this host, so I can connect using SUSE Manager server to this host using the SSH key or a password. In this case, in this example, which I'm showing you now, is using a key. So and then I selecting what key I'm using here, and then after I need to select the activation key, which I just added on the demonstration before. It's a Rocky Linux 8. So and then I can start doing the bootstrapping here. Just need to wait a little bit here, and then we'll have the host show it to my list of hosts, which I just added to my SUSE Manager. So now I have here the Rocky Linux. I can click here and I can also check some properties from this host. For example, what kind of repository is using. This the base chain is the Rocky Linux. So we are the only product in the market which can do the management from multi Linux distributions. We are not like tied just for our products. And then when I click here into properties, I can change what kind of behavior this host will have. Like if it's a Ansible control node or a virtualization host. In this case, if as a virtualization host, I have a KVM running on the host, and I can add some new virtual machines using also SUSE Manager, which is also leads to the next example. So I have here my auto installation profiles. I have my auto installation configuration that will use an auto yast file and will install automatically. It will do an attended install from SUSE Linux Enterprise for us. First, here I'm showing the profiles, which I have an auto installation menu, and but before I'm adding a profile, I need to add a distribution, and the distribution is just like a directory which I have hosted on the SUSE Manager server, which all the files from the installation from a Linux distribution. Let's talk about SUSE Linux. So I have the DVD copied to a directory there. So SUSE Manager will use the installation files here together with my profile, which I use AutoYast to do installation from a host. So I'm just showing here what base channel is using, where is the installation files, what kind of installer I'm using, is everything done on the distribution. And then I can add like a profile here. So I can select the auto install tree, which is my distribution. I can select what kind of virtualization we'll use, the memory, CPU, and everything. I can set up a host here, a guest in this case. And then I can also check what kind of configuration I have on my AutoYast file. So after that, so I will go for my KVM. I have my variables I can use also on the AutoYast. But now I go like for my virtualization host here, and I will create a new guest. And the new guest, the new virtualization guest, will be using this AutoYast file, which I will add into this profile here, auto installation profile. So I'm just adding a name to this host, how many memory, how many CPU, and the auto profile, auto installation profile, which I just set up seconds ago. So, and also the disk information, the networking also can add here. And then after that, I can click on create, and then I have my SUSE Linux Enterprise version 15 as before being installed without asking me anything. It's just everything there. I will finish the installation, and we have a host running on my virtualization host, doing everything together with SUSE Manager, AutoYast, and KVM. So everything will like open source way, so that we are doing this management from host and installation also from new guests, new hosts uh, with SUSE Manager. And also interesting is in the end, like this host will be already added to SUSE Manager. So the salt menu will be installed in the end, and then we will add this host automatically to SUSE Manager. It's really interesting here, part of the adding hosts. But the next topic is also the live patching. So something that we also do with SUSE Manager is the live patching from hosts and how it works. So the live patching is like I have a system which is mission critical, and I cannot have any downtime on these systems. So I can install the live patching kernel on this system using SUSE Manager and prepare the system to do a kernel upgrade without rebooting the system. So that's why it's live patching. I'm doing it live without a need of a reboot from my server. And now I will show how to do it. So I have for to doing it, I have two requirements. The first requirement I will show here on the screen is checking the products. If I have the child channel for live patching configured, I need to add it. So I checking here my products and also the child channels. And I have live patching enable. This is really important to check. It's the first check. And then after you go like for the other check here, which is also I have need to have the host with the specific child channels, which are for live patching. So, I don't have selected here, don't have checked, so I will check now, and then I add to this host this child channels. So it's really important before we start using the live patching feature. So I just added this both child channels to the host. I wait some seconds, and then it will show me these child channels here. So I have this both here child channels for live patching, the pool, the normal pool, and the updates child channel. The next thing which I should do for live patching, I have also two kind of configuration for live patching which I can use. The first one will be using the command line. So the command line, I will just like clone the main repository from slash here slash 15 as before, and then I will can use this for live patching, and I can promote this clone for multiple environments, and I will show you also how to do it, promoting to multiple environments. So let's check here how it's do. I'm doing that. I'm just listing. I'm just having a list for all my channels which I have synchronized into SUSE Manager. Now I will initialize clone based on the main pool from SUSE Linux Enterprise as before. So, and this clone will be used for the live patching. It's just cloning with the needed package from live patching, so I can use into my hosts. So now I have this new repository cloned. I can see also that will appear on my software. On my channels, I have here now my repository added to my channels. And now I can set up the host with the new base channel. I go to alter subscriptions there, and I add this live patching clone here to this host, so I can start also installing the package which is responsible for live patching. So after installing the kernel with live patching feature, I can start doing the live patching on this host. So that's I'm going for software here, and I'm doing install, and then I can check for the live patch package. It's just like adding live patch, and then I have like the package which I need. So we'll show now my live patch here. So I have here. Oh, I need to go to install. I did it something wrong. So go to kernel live patch here, and I can add this package to the Linux distribution to this host, so I can start using the feature. We need a little bit of time. The installation needs some 1 minute, no more than this. So, and then I will see that the host will have like the on the details the option to do uh, live patching upgrade on this on the kernel. Now the next example, which I'm showing you here, I'm selecting a new host. I'm using another host for SUSE Manager, and for the this new host, I'm adding to you the process or showing to you this process using the web UI. So going now here, adding the main repository for this Linux distribution here to this host which I'm managing with SUSE Manager, and then I will start doing visually or creating a filter. I have this option to create a filter on the details from a host. When I have the kernel option there, I can create a filter to check what kind of version from the kernel I would like to use live patching or not. So, and creating this filter is pretty straightforward. I have here just a prefix. I just need to check the templates. I have already templates built in SUSE Manager to live patching, what system I'm using. I'm based on the system, this template, and what kind of kernel. So I just save here. I have this filter which I will also use on my project, which will be also the next part of this live patching using the web UI. Why I need a project? Well, I when I did using the command line, I just cloned the repository without any kind of setup. And using the web UI, I need to have a project. It's a project from the live content lifecycle management. So I will create a project here with the filters which I just created, and then I start building the first repository, and also adding another environment. So adding another environments which I can also promote this. And this is a great feature from SUSE Manager, because I can start with the full securance doing upgrades from my systems from development to production. So I test my hosts which are on the development environment. If the kernel update to the live patching work well, no problems at all, so I can promote to testing. And after, if you work on testing, I can also promote the same repositories into my production environment. So it's my production servers, they are live. I don't like to do any kind of experiment here and just upgrade this environment without testing. So I'm adding my filters. I just added my sources here. As I did on the command line, I checked my repository, I add my filters that I just created. And now, as I said, I will start adding environments here, which is just like saying a name for the environment, a label. And then I start building the first environment, which is the development. And then I will show you that I can create other environments like production and testing. So I have here multiple environments. If it's running on development, is the testing for development worked well, I can promote these repositories to testing repositories, will clone to the testing repositories, and then it will clone to production repositories. So I have multiple types of repositories which I will can do this cloning and also do the promote and a secure update on the whole environment. So after adding this using the web interface, or even either the web interface or cloning using the command line, I have here on the kernel, on the details from this host, the option here live patch. So now I have the possibility with this host using the live patch without any problems. So now it's with you, Martin, again.
Okay, thank you, Gabriel, for showing us how to edit clients either manually or automatically via the profiles. Also, how to create new distribution and activation key. And the last part was about the content lifecycle management, which can really ease you the maintenance and the patching. You can define different stages. So for the more complex environments, it's really useful feature. So let's move to our last part of our demonstration, which is about security. And as I mentioned in the beginning, I really consider security as a key element in nowadays infrastructure because everybody is forced to comply with different, let's say, regulatory asks. And in SUSE, with the SUSE Manager, you can be sure that your systems are compliant because we allow you to run some of the compliance scanning via the OpenSCAP. So the OpenSCAP is basically a framework which allows you to scan your system against some compilatory regulations. And the new thing with SUSE Manager is that we provide also those templates. So basically, we provide you with the templates against you can scan. So it's like STIC or HIPAA. So you can scan your systems and make sure that you are compliant. And on top of it, obviously, we have the CVE audit scanning feature. So in case there's a new CVE and you are wondering if there's something broken or let's say some of your system vulnerable, you can do the scan and see where do you have any problems or not. So with all that, I'll ask Gabriel if he can also guide us through this part.
Of course, will be my pleasure. So now let's start with the CVE audit. So how I can do the CVE audits on my hosts here managed by SUSE Manager. So I go in here to my screen. I have here on the left side and menu part, which is the name is audit. And then I have the CVE audit with a child menu here from audit. I will also select here the number of a CVE, which I would like to check if my hosts managed by SUSE Manager are affected by this CVE. So, and then I click here on this part here and add the number of the CVE, and then I can check if my hosts are affected. There's doing the audit servers here, and I would just check for the hosts which they are affected. So when I do that, I see that two hosts are affected, and I have even the action what I should do. And that's really perfect with SUSE Manager because I know what is affected by some CVE and what kind of action I should do. So in this case, I should install a patch here, and I just go for this, click on this patch, and I can install and fix this both servers here, which I have managed by SUSE Manager. And also have our other great feature is like I have the links for the CVE which I was searching for, and I can have more information about the CV, what is doing the CV, what is the how affects my hosts, which I have managed by SUSE Manager, is everything there. The whole information is there. We did everything for you so that you have exactly what you need so that you can start patching your hosts and make them secure and also avoid it to be affected by these CVs. So, and now we are going also for the OpenSCAP. And OpenSCAP is a really interesting feature which we have because we need to use OpenSCAP also to check compliance. And the compliance here is important because we have a lot of compliance on different sectors, for example, insurance or banking, and we need to check if our servers have the right configurations, the right setup from the hosts, and they can respect the compliance from just different sectors. We can do that with this compliance check with OpenSCAP. And we have here also an audit and child menu, which the name is OpenSCAP. And I already did some scans here for testing, so I have like the scans on the list. And I will show now how to proceed with this scanning. So basically, I have like this scanning which I already did, and then I can go here and check what kind of information for these profiles, which are also the rows which I run against my host. Is checking if the root user has access to kind of directory, or if I can use SSH without passwords, and I can do everything there. So to start doing the OpenSCAP or run a scan against a host, I should go to my hosts, click on them on this system list, and then I have the properties of the whole options from this host, and I have a tab which the name is Audit. The tab here, Audit, I will click on that, and if I have the needed packages installed, I can start scheduling a scan. On this case, on the demo here, I didn't install the packages also to show to you how to do from the scratch. um, I have here the need to install this OpenSCAP ITILs package. I will install this package, and also I need to install the profile rules for this distribution. It's really important also to tell you, to show you that for every distribution which we are running this OpenSCAP, we need to have like the ITILs package installed and also the profiles package installed, which is the profiles are the roles, and the roles are different for every distribution which we have in the market. So now let's install the package here. I'm going for software. I do everything with SUSE Manager, no command line here. Just installing packages. I will search for OpenSCAP or SCAP, and I have these two packages which I need to install. One is already set on the audit tab, which is OpenSCAP ITILs, and the other one which I will install for this distribution is the SCAP security guide here. This package here I need to install because of my host, and as a host is a SUSE Linux Enterprise in this case, I can use the profiles on this package. I have also the same package with the guides, profiles for Debian and for Red Hat and for Ubuntu. On this case, I'm just using here SUSE Linux Enterprise Host. I will install the both packages here, and then I have them installed. And then after some seconds here, I will have like the message was gone, and I can start doing my scheduling here from a scan. So how I can do the scan? The first part here, the command is already there. I need to use some arguments. The arguments which I will use are the profile. Is like what kind of profile which you would like to check. This profile is the compliance profile which I have. I can also open the OpenSCAP website and check for what kind of profiles, what kind of profile compliance checks are doing with this profile. And after I select a profile here, I need to also select my roles, which will be like on the XCCDF document. So when I select a profile here, I can also select also the document after. So let's go for the document here. This document here I selected, and then I can run the rows which I have against the profile which I'm checking for. So just that you know here, after installed this guide package, this SCAP guide package I have on the Linux distribution, this XML file, which I will use as a document. And then I can also run information against this file here, this document here, so that I can also check what kind of profiles I can use against these rules. So I'm using a profile and checking these rules against this profile. So I have here some profiles information, and then I have after the check files which I can use, and then it's just checking if I'm using the right profile and the right document. So I schedule my scan, and now it's running by the scanning in the background. But I would like to show you the advantage from using OpenSCAP here. Have now on these scans here also the results from the scanning, which I can also check some information, what kind of compliance tests passed or not. So I have these results here. I click on the results, and I have also down the result if passed or not. There's a lot of pass here. It passed on these checks, compliance checks, but I also can check here, can change here the result to fail, and then I can also uh, see what kind of checks fail or not. Other option which I have here a file which the name is report HTML, and the report is a really well done report which I have with the results from OpenSCAP, and also can send it to the regulators or who are checking this compliance tests in your company. So I will show now this file how it is. It's really cool because I have all the information there. I have also all the addresses, all the checks which I have, the scoring, how many rows, compliance rows it failed, how many pass. So it's everything there. I can also even do some filters here and just check what the I have for fail. And then I have like for severity here, I can show it fail on high severity, these rows here, then the medium and then the low. And then I have also the scan which I just run here on my host. Is there the results? It's the same procedure. So I have my HTML file. I can also do the filter here, and then I would like also to check if I can fix one of these compliance issues. I will now go to my Linux host. I will do like a change how or I will fix this issue on my host. But I have two options here. I have one is to discover how to fix this compliance issue, or other option is also going or to leave to SUSE Manager to show me how to do that. So when I click on this issue here, I'll have all the instructions which I need. So just go to this file on the host, disable this configuration, or I can even use like Ansible playbook to do that, or a shell script, just like copy and paste the Ansible playbook or the shell script and run against the host. I'm doing here manually, so I go into the host, I open the SSH configuration, we'll fix this compliance issue here manually. So I change the permit empty passwords to no, just restarted the daemon, and what I will do now, I will just do rerun OpenSCAP scanning against this host to check if the issue was fixed or not, if it will pass or not. So I go in here for the scanning, and then you see like we have like two different scanning results. One is the newest one, and the other is the oldest one. And I have a button here which is compare selected scans. I will compare both scans and to see what changed between these two scans. So I can see here the difference. I fixed this issue regarding empty passwords on SSH. The first scan was fail, and now the second scan after I fixed this compliance issue is pass. So I changed the behavior. It's everything there. SUSE Manager makes really easy to us to understand what compliance issues we have in our systems, how to fix them, and also we can compare the results of this scanning and fix one by one or a lot of issues together. So it's really fine, really great, really easy to use this feature with SUSE Manager. So I think now I'm done with my demo, Martin. What do you have to tell us?
So thank you, Gabriel. And it was really nice summary from a security point of view. We showed the CV scanning, which is, I would say, a nice feature. Nevertheless, the OpenSCAP is really comprehensive security solution because you can really see any vulnerability against many profiles. As you can see, we can compare it. We can get nice graphical reports. And with that, I think we are at the end of our session. So we hope that you have seen how SUSE Manager can help you in all the three categories, meaning help you with the security, keep you compliant, and obviously keep your system up to date, healthy, and in running mode. So thank you again, and see you. Bye.
Thank you. See you. Bye bye.